Hey guys, my name is Matsumiyo, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Garrett, and it is, have you had any problems with the audio in Rainbow Six Siege this season? Sometimes I don't hear windows being open or players running nearby. I am so glad that I am not the only one that is experiencing these problems. I don't know what it is this season, but there just seems to be something off with the audio in general. To give you a really good example, just the other day I was playing and I thought that someone was coming from the right, but lo and behold, they were actually literally behind me and to the left. Here's an example.
Have you covered? One on horse.
If you listen closely to that clip, it sounds like the audio comes from the right, at least according to my headset. Maybe this is a headset problem. But then the last second, it then sounds like it comes from behind and to the left. I have no idea why this happens. This isn't the only example. I've had moments where people will jump down a hatch and the actual audio of them landing on the ground doesn't seem to trigger, or it's really quiet and I can't hear it in the moment while other things are happening around me. Now, maybe this is just them adjusting a couple of things without us knowing. Maybe they wanted to make some of these sounds more subtle. I really have no idea what's going on, but to have someone jump down a hatch and not actually hear the audio can mean the difference between your team winning and losing, and to have that happen against you, of course, is incredibly frustrating. And so while, of course, I can only speak from personal experience, I have no idea if you guys are also having these same problems, but from what I've talked with my friends and people in the community, this does seem like a widespread issue. And so I'm crossing my fingers that Ubisoft is aware of these problems, and they are going to be addressing it, hopefully in the near future, but we're just gonna kind of have to wait and see. The next one comes from Matt, and it is, what do you think about an offensive operator that has the ability to rappel through hatches? Defender side sites like the third floor in Hereford would be much easier to attack, in my opinion. This is actually something that we might see in the future. There was a leak not too long ago that indicated that defenders might need to reinforce hatches on their floor, on their level, not above the objective like you normally would, but actually on the ground floor. This is a lot of people speculating and assuming that this means that offense is now going to have some sort of way to get through these hatches and flank them from a completely different angle. Now, if this is true, this is definitely going to be mixing up and changing the way that we play on some of these objectives. Now, the real question is, though, is that if this is true, how is it going to impact the game overall? Some people are thinking that if you just open up a hatch that's right on the objective itself and then rappel on up and then plant the diffuser, that could be really powerful. But if any defender is nearby, they're probably going to notice the rappel line up and down through that hatch, and it's going to be quite easy for them to take you out. When you're rappelling, you're pretty vulnerable. Other people are speculating that if it's a ladder system, a very, very long time ago, there was apparently a data miner that found a ladder in the game, and so maybe this is the remnants of that. Maybe if you have to literally go up a ladder, you guys know that leaves you in an animation. You have no way of actually retaliating or taking anyone out that has direct line of sight on you when you are on said ladder, and so that would even be more challenging for offense to actually take advantage of that's kind of a gadget. And so all in all, I'm really curious to see if this rumor is actually true. It could be one of those gadgets that takes a lot of time, and maybe I just don't simply understand how this would impact the game in the long term. I think it would be something that we'd really have to play with for a long time. But my worry is that because rappelling is so vulnerable for offense, and especially if it is a ladder, it's difficult to tell how useful this actually would be. Who knows? Maybe Ubisoft is going a completely different direction with this idea, and hatches or going up them is only one facet of the usefulness of this gadget. Let's say it's actually something where you can shoot this rappel line up into a ceiling, and so on maps like Bank or on large ceilings like in Chalet, you actually can rappel in the main lobby up and down. And so you could maybe hit someone from a completely different angle from way up above. And so you would still be able to get through hatches, which is the main use, but also give you different angles that defenders wouldn't even expect whatsoever in the current meta. That's also another possibility. And so let me know what you guys think about this concept. Is this something that you would like to see introduced into Rainbow Six Siege? Do you think that it wouldn't be powerful enough? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. The next question comes from Austin. It is, with the recent Battlefield titles being disappointments, would you like them to remaster a previous Battlefield for the next release? Well, I definitely would not be opposed to that whatsoever, but I think I would rather them approach a modern setting first and then go from there. I really do believe that a modern setting fits the Battlefield franchise better than anything else because it just opens up so much more possibilities. You have a lot more gadgets at your disposal, way more attachment customization. Just look at Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. The customization gameplay-wise far and exceeds anything that we have in the recent Battlefield titles, and I think it is because of that modern setting. You also have a lot more vehicles at your disposals. You got planes, helicopters, you got different tanks, different transport vehicles that you just simply can't have in any other kind of time period. I truly do believe that the Battlefield franchise excels when it really tries to harness and take advantage of that sandbox gameplay. I have so many amazing memories from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 in particular because it has so much variety. I could run around with a 40 times optic on my sniper, my recon class, for example, and do whatever I want. It may not be optimal, it may be the worst attachment you can probably use, but that was something that was available. You can run around with all of these different loadouts, be them good or bad, depending on how you feel, and then try and be successful with that. That's where the Terrible Weapon Challenge series came from, which I haven't done in a long time because you really can't do that in the modern Battlefield games. Being able to use the wide variety of gadgets to take out different vehicles. The SRAW, you guys may remember, that was one of my favorite gadgets, and being able to learn how to use that properly and then actually take people out with it was one of the best experiences that I have in gaming. And so while I'm definitely not opposed to seeing a remaster, if I got a remaster, I definitely think I would go with Battlefield 3. Battlefield 4 was, I think, a little bit too recent. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago, but Battlefield 3 with an updated netcode, because let's be honest, the netcode back in that day was atrocious. You were getting taken out around corners, like lag and everything along those lines was really, really bad, but also seeing a bump in the graphical fidelity, I think would take that game to the next level. Being able to play on all of my favorite maps again, but in an updated engine, and I really do think that Battlefield 3 had some of the best, at least infantry-based wise, would be a dream for me. But before they go down that path, I really want to see them attempt a modern setting, be it Battlefield 6, whatever they want to call it, but embrace those sandbox elements. I know not everyone is going to agree with me because we know that we like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. We already know that kind of gameplay is what we like, but I would like to see something new. I like when the industry, and especially DICE, tries to move forward. They try to progress and bring us something different, new maps and new vehicles and stuff like that. I would love to see that in a new Battlefield 6. And then if that's awful, then they could go back and hopefully rework something or remaster something that we all know and love. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. The next one comes from Victor, and it is, what do you think about the suppressor being buffed? One way to approach this is to not show immediately, but 5 seconds after the kill cam. Another way is to apply at least a bit of recoil reduction, since in real life recoil would be reduced. I am definitely on board with trying to improve this attachment, and your first suggestion I think is fantastic. The attachment is meant to be stealthy. You are meant to catch people by surprise. They're not supposed to know you're there. You're supposed to be silenced, but of course that's kind of diminished when you take someone out and they immediately get all the information they need from the camera itself. But to have that delayed shortly by a couple of seconds, it doesn't need to be all that significant, but at least allow the person to then get a little bit more aggressive with that weapon so they can push on in and then take everyone else by surprise, would actually make that attachment significantly better than it is right now. A lot of the times, as soon as I drop someone, I need to move or at least back away because everyone around is going to then know a couple seconds later as soon as that call out is made. But now with the suppressor, if they don't have that information readily at their fingertips, that's going to take it, I think, to the next level. Now, I don't think that all of a sudden this would become the preferred attachment of choice. Who knows? knows? Maybe that lack of information would be so advantageous that everyone gravitates towards that, but I don't think that's going to be the case because a lot of people do like that recoil reduction. But I do think that for those people that like to use this attachment, this would definitely facilitate and enhance the gameplay that they're going for and would be a great improvement. Now, as for reducing the weapon's recoil with this attachment, I don't know if I'm sold on that. We already have a clear defined roles for all of the other weapon recoil reduction attachments, and as soon as you do this, it's going to step in their territory and kind of muddy the waters a little bit. Even if you make the recoil reduction just slightly worse than all of the others, it may get to the point where everyone actually does want to use this new suppressor attachment because that slight recoil reduction is just enough that all of the other benefits of the suppressor outweighs the cons, and so now it becomes the preferred option. And so that is one thing they would have to consider if they wanted to go down that route. All in all, though, I do agree that this attachment needs some sort of an upgrade. You see it every once in a while, but I think the vast majority of people avoid it because of all the information that you have at your fingertips as soon as you get taken out by someone who is actually using it. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Would you like to see the attachments change in any other way? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.